Okay, I'm going to start the recording. The recording will be available on Thursday. Sometimes during the day on Thursday you should be able to pick up the recording. I will send out an email to everybody as well as soon as the recording has been uploaded. So you would be able to get the recording then and would be able to see what is going on. Right, I've just unblocked Betty quickly. And I'm going to unblock Roma there. And while the groups is small, and I'm talking about small 10 to 15 to 20 people max, I will basically open everybody's mic. When we get to a crazy situation, I might at that point in time close some of the mics to give certain people a chance to speak, otherwise it might just become a little bit too crazy. Right, for tonight's class, or for today's class, I think let me rather call it today's class, as most of you are in daytime. I've used a scroll, I've used a scroll, and on the scroll I'm started with my normal fill tool and went over the whole area. So I'm just going to click on the area there and just change it into edit mode. And then scroll in. Set my screen for 5x7 group, and I've gone around the edges of the scroll, and by moving my nodes I can now make sure the whole area is there. This is my start off for it. I've got 1, 2, 3 holes that I need to cut into the area, and I'm going to use my cutting tool to cut the holes in, and from there I will take it up and start showing you how to change the parameters, play with the parameters and the density, and then change it into a multicolor and fading in both directions so that you've got a two-tone design. Is there any questions so far? Right, so if I'm finished then with my design, the outline, I've gone around the outline, and I will now just go and generate stitches. There's about a 2-minute time delay between what I'm doing here and what you'll see on the other side, but when you download the video you'll actually see everything in real time, so there won't be a time delay at that point. Just waiting for the screen to change. Kristen, can you already see the blue area that I've done in stitch format over the scroll, or not yet?
Now I see it.
Not yet. 100%. Just have a look and see what it's changing there. Vanessa, on your side, would you know what's going on?
Yes, I can see it.
You can see it there. Alright, so we should be able to, everybody should be able to see it just now. Okay, there it comes through. Should be visible to most of you now, that you should be able to see the blue area. And then if I go to 3D view, in other words, go and have a look at the 3D design, that is the 3D scroll without the holes being cut. Right, okay, now the next part that I'm going to do, I'm going to cut my holes. I'm going to cut my holes into the design, and for that I'm going to use my hole tool. It's the third icon on the left hand side, just below the fill area. Good evening, Monica, welcome with us. I'm going to use my fill tool,
Thank you.
Click on the cut tool and then start cutting inside the design, so that I'm going to do a cut out. You can cut as many holes as you want in a given object. The biggest thing is you need to make sure that the object that you're cutting the hole in is the one that you're standing on before you start cutting the holes. it's happened to me a few times already that I've cut the hole in an object that is 2 layers down, and then there's no holes and you can't understand what's going on. Go back and I generate stitches, and it will immediately go and regenerate the stitches for the whole area. And I will show you on the part side that you have now an additional part added to the project. I'm just waiting for the screen to update on your side, and then we can... Vanessa, if you can pop in as soon as you see the screen change there, just let me know please. That will be fine, that will help me as well.
Okay, I can see the first cutout.
You can see the first cutout, right?
Yeah.
I'm starting now with the bottom cutout, bottom section, that little cutout portion there, so I'm going to start with that now. And then once I've clicked around it, I'm going to go and ask it to generate stitches. Annette, where are you based?
In Louisiana and U.S.
Louisiana, US. Okay, that's good. Right, you should be able to see the second cutout by now, very close to it.
Okay, I can see the cutout now, Philip. Cool.
Okay. Right, and we're going to do the third cutout. Start with the third cutout. These scrolls tend to give you the option to utilize your full stitch and then change it later into satin, or like we're going to do now, into a multicolor full design. Close edges when we're finished. Make sure everything is 100%, and then just go and right click with the mouse, close edges, and then go and generate stitches.
Muted. Unmuted.
Right. This might be a little bit better. Welcome, Judy. Hope you're going to join the class. Join the class. Welcome, Judy. Hope you're going to join the class. Right. Vanessa, is all 3 holes visible at this point in time?
Yes, I can see all three of them.
Okay, right. Now, if we look at 3D, it's a dense design. So what I would like to do, I'm going to change the parameters. I'm just waiting for the design to come.
Change the parameters. I'm just waiting for the design.
I've got a 10 voice. Vanessa, please let me know if
Vanessa, please let me know if
Yes. Okay, this design is up on my side.
Muted.
Creating.
Unmuted.
Okay. Is my voice clear enough?
Is my voice
I'm getting a feedback.
Betty, I'm picking it up as well, and I don't know where it comes from.
Better pick it up as well, and I don't know where it comes from.
Wow.
Muted. Unmuted.
All right, let's see now. Might be better. Okay, Betty, are you still there?
I am.
Okay, feedback gone now?
No.
Still there?
Echo's gone on my side.
It's
gone
gone on
on
your
my
side,
side.
Monica. Right. Right, I'm going to go to parameters
it's
now.
better
Right
now.
click on the right click on this on the whole design, and if you look at the screen now, you'll see that there's a square little block around the area, and at the bottom part we have 4 parts to this object. So on the right hand side, just below the color block, we've got the object. Below that is the part, so there's 4 parts to the object. And if I'm going to try and do something now with parameters, I'm standing on the wrong place. So I need to go and select the whole object to go and change the parameters of the object. So I'm going to go to parameters, and the first thing I'm going to go and do is basically remove my underlay for this area, change my fill type that I'm going to use there to a fill type 2, and my stitch angle to -35 degrees. Density is set at 4, that's the default setting of Embed. So we're going to change that density, and I'm going to take that density up to about a 12 point something, 11 point something, that's fine. 12, let's go and type 12 in. And say okay, that's fine. And then I would like to do that area is fine. I don't need a gradient in it. The fill type is fine, and let's go and generate stitches and have a look what it's showing. Judy's raised the question there. I'll just go and check that question. Judy, is there a question that you want to ask me? What happened to Judy now? Judy's just left, lost her. Right. So I've changed the density, and because I've changed the density, you can see that there's some stitches running at the bottom, and that is our first layer. And
Oh yeah.
And I'm going to change my color of that to a purple, to a purplish color. By just clicking on the color bar, dragging it and dropping it onto the object, and that will change that color for us. Now when you use right click on your object area and then try and go and do a duplication of the design or of the object, it will in most cases do a duplicate, but the duplicate will not be exactly on top of the original object. And I would like this duplicate to be exactly on top of the original object. And the only way that we can do that is by using the transformation icon which is on my screen just below the help function at the top. And I'm going to use that to create a duplicate of this object, and then we're going to change the stitch direction and the density and color of the second object. So instead of going to use duplicate by right-clicking on the object, I'm going to go to my transformation icon, which will be, let me just go and highlight it for you. It will be that where the tool is, where the red dot is on the screen. Just shout if you can see the red dot.
I see it.
Okay, do you see the red dot on the screen just below the help there?
Mm-hmm.
That's where
Yes.
that's that tool that we're going to use there. So we're going to go to transformation tool, and with the transformation tool I'm going to just go and apply this object directly, a duplicate. Apply to duplicate and create a duplicate of the object, and immediately I've got my second object on the right hand side. It's done there. I can now go and change the parameters of the second object. I'm going to change the color as well. I would like to use a very light pink color on that. And now I'm going to change my stitch direction and my density of object number 2 so that I've got the one showing through the other one. So let's start with that. I'm listening.
Oh, sorry.
Parameters. I've missed that question. Keeping the density the same. The only thing I'm changing now is I'm changing my gradient a little bit of this object. And I'm going to change my effects in my parameters to give me a wavy effect there for the second layer. And I'm going to generate stitches with that. And let's just have a look and see if it changes the color so that I can see the two objects, the purple plus the, yeah, there it is. Hi Barbara, welcome. Right, so now we've got two layers, one
Did you change the fill?
over the other one. I've changed the fill type. I've kept the fill type as it was, but I've changed the effects on the fill type of the second layer to be a wavy effect, and I've also changed the gradient part on the parameter screen there. So let me just call it up again, and I'll show you, just re-show you what I did there. Object number 2's parameters. And I've gone and changed the gradient to 20. I've changed my stitch angle to 50 degrees, and I changed the effect of the second object to wave. We don't want any underlay there, so I've taken the edging off, I've taken zigzag 1 off, and I've taken zigzag 2 off as well, so that there's no underlay on object number 2. And I've just moved my effects to 40 and 42. And that is basically what I've done with the object. The density is still set to 12. If I want more of the purple to shine through or to come through, I should now go and change the density of object number 2 to a lower density, which means this is a higher number. Go down to 18, click on that, and then apply and generate stitches so that it can give me the new effect that I would like to see what's going on there. Any questions so far?
Was number 1 fill number 2 also?
Number 1 fills, Betty, was, let me just give you the information there on parameters. Number 1 fill. Number 1's density was set to 12, stitch direction to 35, minus 35, and it was the fill type was fill type number 2, under plain fill type number 2. That's all I did to the object number 1, nothing else.
Thank you.
I will upload this JPEG file for you onto the group as well, so that we can download it and you can play with it as well and go through the class, so that the actual JPEG file will be available to everybody after the class as well. Right, so I've got item number 1 is there, item number 2 is there. I think I might just go and change my colors for item number 1 because the purple doesn't come through so nicely. I'm going to change it to an orangey color, and that goes through. That's too much. Trying to find a nice. Now that looks better. I've changed the first object's color to a bluish color, and I'm going to change object number 2's color to a yellow orange, and I think that will show you more what is actually happening to it, but the two colors were too close together. Right, Vanessa, you will shout if you can see everything on that side.
I will.
Okay. My audience indicator at this point in time tell me that you can't see the changes yet.
Not there yet.
No, nothing yet. It's
Okay, so
There it is.
There it is.
is it coming through?
there we go.
Yeah, I see there's a 2-3 minute
Yeah.
delay, and
Yes.
it's even with you in the States, it's exactly the same delay is there, so it takes a little bit of a little while to change. Can you see now that the blue area at the bottom is going in one direction, and the second area is going into a second direction, but the actual difference in the fill that we've used and the gradient as well as the density gives you the option to have a two-tone item. The second color here, I will most probably, if I stitch it out on the machine, use some of the Madeira range of threads where they've got that, it's like a metallic silver or a metallic gold inside the specific color. You find that you've got an orange with a little bit of a goldish metallic thread inside that. It's part of the Madeira thread called, I think it's called the metallic collection or something like that. And that is what I would use on the second one. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to use object number 2, and I'm going to create an outline for the whole design by going to my convert option on the top, in the top section next to help. You've got help, then view, then convert. So we're going to click on convert, left click with the mouse on convert, and then create outline from fill, which in other words use this object and create an outline for me from this specific object. Okay. By clicking on create outline from fill, can you see my drop down menu already?
No.
Not yet. Okay. I'm going to come in and then create outline from fill. And
There it is.
is it there?
There we go.
First item right at the top, Control Alt.
Barely. There.
Yep, now you should all be able to see it. I've just seen my screen has been up.
Yes.
Right, so we're going to create outline from fill. And with creating outline from fill, it immediately went and created 4 additional objects for me. And the 4 additional objects that it created was the outline for the whole design and the outline for each cutout section. So I'm going to take those objects, right click on them and go and join them, and then go and create the parameters for it, and I will use red work. Instead of sample stitch, go and use red work. And then when you use red work, always try and push your minimum stitch length as small as possible. And I think the smallest you can set it is 0.5 of a mil. Ladies, I'm not clued up with inches anymore, so I hope you'll excuse the millimeters. So I'm setting this the smallest to 0.5, and I set that by clicking on the word minimum length in the parameter screen. And then maximum 3.5 might be a bit long, but it shouldn't give us a problem. I would like to bring it down to about 3. By default, our parameters is from 1.5 to 4, although we can go up to 21.5 millimeters, but I don't think we'll do that. We'll stay to 3. I'm going to accept 3 millimeters there. Right. Width is not applicable, and then I'm going to go down and say apply and generate the stitches, and the stitch area should now change and it should be visible. I'm going to change my background for this exercise by going to edit, preferences, and just go and change my screen background to a dark color. So that we can see the object a little bit clearer. And save and apply. Right, so I've done that. It's there, it's sorted out. You should be able to see it just now. Right. I would like you to send me items that you would like me to discuss in the next 4 or 5 classes related to Studio and Font Engine. And for October, we're going to run a challenge to do a complete company logo using Font Engine only. So it's open for everybody. I'll put the information up on the website, but I will also email all the information through to you. Right. Design should be visible to everybody now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Right. The stitching of the whole design should be quite easy without any jump stitches. And the reason being is our very first object, our starting point and ending point on the first object, because we duplicated that object into number 2, automatically created the same starting point and ending point in object number 2 as well. So it will basically do the first one, stop and start exactly on the same point with the second one. And then when we created the outlines, it's taken all that information over as well, and that should also then be in the same start and end positions. Right, I'm going to go and save this. And I've seen on the groups...
Philip, with stitching?
I'm listening.
With stitching this out, obviously it's going to stitch one color first. It has to stitch the next color exactly on top, and then it has to stitch the outline exactly in place.
Yes.
Do we have to put a pull compensation
No.
or anything like that in?
No, we can leave pull compensation as is. Our very first item that we've done, object number 1's pull not pull compensation, density, we've already reduced from 4 to 12. So it's already fairly loose. So you won't have the problem that it'll start pulling. And you don't go over with object number 2, go over object number 1 at a density of 4, where object number 1 was a 4 density. So you won't have that problem with it. It all depends on your fabric again. If you're going to do it on a stretch fabric, you need to look at that. But normally you'll do this type of thing on linen, like for sheeting or on a table mat or something like that, that's where you'll use this facility. Okay, saving the object, and if we don't save the EOF file, we can't go back and fix it afterwards. And even that has happened to most of us, I think, at least once. But they say if you haven't stitched your violin, or you stitched over your garment, or embroidered over your garment, you haven't done embroidery. So I think with digitizing, if you haven't saved your original file, you've at least made a mistake somewhere. Is there any question about using why would you use multicolor? Or is there anybody that would like to ask something about what I've just shown you? Quiet. Right. I'm going to utilize the same design now, and I'm going to use it, the outline section at the back, to go and just create a visual by using the convert button at the top to go and create a conversion on item number 3 to a column stitch instead of an outline stitch. So create a column from outline. That's what I'm going to go and do with that object, with object number 3 now, which was our outline area. And I would like to show you, it comes up and it asks me what the millimeter thickness is there. And let's go and click on that and say, okay, let's go for maximum there is 10 mil. Let's see what it does. Fine. And that's crazy, it's just done that for me there, so that's not what I wanted to do. Object number 2, create, okay, create column from full. Right, I've taken object number 2 and created column from full on object number 2. I'm going to hide object number 3 now by closing the little eye. Clicking on the eye, I'm going to close that eye so it's not visible. And go back to object number 4, which will be our full stitch now, our satin stitch or our column stitch, and generate stitches on that. And what I would like to do here, I would like to show you two things, and I would like to change the stitching and the parameters of the satin, and I'll show you why now. You should be able to see it at this point. It should be available on your screen, most of you.
Yes.
Right,
Yes, can see it.
right at the bottom of the screen, there's a gap.
Yeah.
And that gap is due to the software doing satin stitch and displaying satin stitch maximum 12.7 millimeters. So if your satin is bigger than 12.7 mil, the program will show it to you that it can cause a problem for you there. And if I go down into my part section on the right hand side, you will notice that below item number 4, the actual icon that is displaying what this object is connection stitches with satin stitches and not full stitches anymore. Right, you should be able to see it now. So in the part section, the little icon for item number 2 in the parts, that shows it is a satin stitch or a column stitch, depending on from which side you're looking at, but we call it, most of us call it as a satin stitch. So I'm going to change my parameters. I'm going to click on the parameters for object number 4, go to the parameter screen, and you'll see that I can now go and change the type of fill that I've got there by changing the stitches. Instead of sample 1, which is your normal satin, I'll most probably use 1, 2, 3, 4, item number 4 there, and then in the envelope number 1, I will must change to envelope number 7. Won't change density in that, and I will leave it as is, and then just generate stitches, and you'll see the difference on the actual design as it changes over. Just check and see if Candice is asking a question there. Candy, you're still fine on that side. I see you haven't asked another question yet, so that's 100%. You need to get that mic sorted out so that you can also chat with us. Right, Vanessa, your screen updated yet?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, can you see the difference in the satin now? The satin looks as if
It gives
it's
it a
more-
whole different look.
Yeah, and it's just by changing your parameters from a full type to a satin type, and then changing that parameter from your normal satin, which is basically stitching on the outside edges, to stitching in 3 positions, moving from left to right, and it gives you more of a round feeling to it as well. Looks like actually
More
like
like a rope.
woven, yeah, like a rope or a cord.
I like that.
And again, I can basically take this and reduce the density. If I reduce the density a little bit and increase the density of the bottom area, I can do that double with this as well. So let's go and do that. I'm going to change the density on object number 4. Parameters, where's my density? Density is set to 4. And change the density to 4.5, so take it up to about an 8, and then apply generate stitches. And then go back and change the density of object number 1. And in this case I can take that up, Monica, to from a 12 down to about an 8, which is still not a 4, but the 2 colors will not give me a problems there. And to get a nice bronze effect, I will just
You
change
wouldn't
this.
stitch this.
I'm listening.
Would you stitch this on top of the other 2 layers?
No, I would in this case basically take the design and remove object number 2 and object number 3. So I'll have object number 1 as my first layer, and then object number 4 will be my second layer. So I'll save the file under a different file name and just take object number 2 and object number 3 out, and then stitch them out. Because remember, at the end of the day is your machine will tell you how good your digitizing was. It's not the computer. It's not the computer that tells you how good you are. So
Yeah.
now I've changed object number 1's color to a bronze. I've hidden object, I hide object number 2, and I've hide object number 3. So the only 2 that's visible at this point will then be object number 1 and number 4. And you see if I can just scroll in so that we can see. It's a little bit better.
Oh, there it goes. That's better.
Okay. And that would be a nice embellishment to your linen or to curtaining or can even use it on a dress. Doesn't matter where. But can you see the effect of the satin stitch now not being a straightforward satin? It gives you like more dimension in it than it would under normal circumstances if you just use the satin. If you've digitized the design in full stitch completely, cut your holes out and then just go to parameters and convert in parameters instead of having it as a full to an auto column. It will give you a normal satin stitch, and that's all that it will give you. You can't control that, you can't do anything to it. So you have to go through your convert option to convert that full area into columns, and then take the columns and basically apply satin stitch parameters to your columns.
And play with.
Yeah, I've basically with that option where we went on to the, let me just go and show you quickly there. In the parameters, changing your sample and your envelope in auto column or in satin to have a different effect to it. Just tell me if you can see the parameter screen.
Yep, there it is.
There we see.
So you can see now the envelope section there, I've changed to envelope number 7, which is an uneven stitch. Not each stitch is not the same length. And then on the sample side, just above it, I've basically changed the satin not to be stitched on the outside, on the two outside edges. It's actually stitching inside, like in a zigzag situation. But that gives me that actual extra dimension into this whole object. I'll show you now if I'm going to just close the eye of object number 4, get back to object number 1, and convert that into a normal auto column. And you'll see that if I have that parameters open, you cannot do anything else to it except for adding a pattern. And adding a pattern is only your normal full type patterns that you've got. There's not much more patterns that you can add to it. So that gives us the opportunity to create a woven rope effect with a satin stitch, and you can go fairly wide with the design, because it will actually stitch from the one end and walk over to the other end, and then in the process create that extra roundness for you. Okay, you should be able to see the screen now, and the satin that's there now, or the auto column that's there now, is the normal full type object number 1 that I've just converted in parameters to auto column, instead of the normal plain full that was there in the beginning.
So that fancy one you did is quite a raised design. It's not flat on the fabric.
Monica, not that much. It's there, but it's, how can I say?
No.
I've seen.
It gives the impression of depth.
Okay, let me take you there quickly. Just going to go back one step under there.
Because on the screen it looks quite high and rounded.
Yes, it does give you the effect on the screen in 3D that it's basically very high. And I just want to go and change that color so that you can see it again. So the very first part that we did with those multi-layers, it's really flat, because your second color that runs over it is very, very loose. There's no high density on it. It runs over. It gives you the nice effect that you can actually tone in with a second thread type that will enhance your color. Mother of pearl comes to mind at this point quickly. If I'm thinking of this object like this on a bridal dress, for instance, I would use the underlay color, would probably be a soft peach, and the mother of pearl will be my second and my third color, which will give me the shimmer through that peach effect that is there. Okay, you see that? You see that now? It's not. When you go and look at the fourth one, where we've actually object number 4, where you go and do the satin over it with that effect. The satin gives it a roundness that goes with the design, because it's stitching to the middle and it's basically filling in over each other as it goes from one side to the other. Right. Question time.
When you convert, do you delete the object the previous object?
Betty, in some cases I
After you
will.
convert it?
In this case tonight, I haven't actually deleted the object because I've kept the objects. But what I will do, I will actually save this design as designs file save as, so that I've got actually 2 projects with one digitizing effort. I've got 2 projects, and then in the first one object, I only actually stopped on 1, 2, and 3 layers 1, 2, and 3. And in the second one, I will now go and delete object number 2 and 3 and only keep 1 and 4 for the second object. So that I've got 2 different types of design when I'm finished with it.
Okay.
Any other questions? Can't believe it. Vanessa, from your side?
Nothing from my side.
Nothing from your side. Okay. Mr. Geraldine?
I'm just sitting here looking at this and thinking, wow.
I don't want to take you into silence. All right. I would like, with our next class, please send me some information, but I would also like to touch a little bit on creating your own stitch types. In other words, your own fold type, line types and all that. So that's one thing I would like to cover definitely. But anything that you would like to have a look at, please email me the graphic file if you've got, and we'll take that up and we'll do that in the next class. Our time is nearly up. If there's any other thing that you would like to discuss, it's fine. We have a few minutes. I'm just going to go and do file save quickly. File save as, and it will be...
Sorry, Philo?
Yes. I'm listening.
Okay, the blue layer there's no gradient where it's thinner in some parts than thicker in other parts. It's
No.
even, isn't it?
No, the blue layer is the blue layer's parameters is even, so I didn't use gradient at all in it. The only thing I did with the first layer, and with the blue layer, was just reducing. I've taken all the underlying stitching out there, edging as well as the zigzag, and I've just reduced the stitch density from a 4 to a 12.
Okay. Now what's with the top layer? You've done a gradient, and it's done the blue shining through in the middle, and at the top it's not, and at the bottom it's not as much. Is there a way of making it go, come, go, like
Yes.
flipping way?
100%. Thank you, Monica. Let's go there quickly. It's object number 2. And I'm just going to go to parameters and wait for the screen to come up, and then I'll show you. Under gradient, you have about 4 or 5 different gradient types that you can use. 2, 3, 4. 4 objects.
You echoing again?
I just picked that up, yes. You should be able to see the parameter screen now. Okay. Under gradient, we've got 4 different gradient objects. If I change it to object number 2, it'll have a different effect than using object number 1. And if I change my degrees that I've got, it will also make a change to the design. So I've changed my degrees to object number 2 in gradient and then change it to 150 degrees. And I'm now going to go and generate stitches.
You're still on the same gradient vector.
Okay, and now I will just ask it to change that, and I'll show. Yeah, the gradient factor I still left at 20. I think the gradient factor is fine. I'm just waiting for the screen to change so that you can see what's going on, and you'll immediately see now that that's moved most of the gradient to the top section, and the wave effect is actually coming through now in the bottom area.
Oh.
Oh, nice.
Sounds as if it's becoming visible.
Now can you give us another 6 hours a day to play?
Yeah, I will.
Now you have your
Candace sent me an email and said to me that days are too short now. Ladies, I think we're going to call it a day with the recording. If there's anything, by all means, please send me an email. Give me all the information that you would like me to cover over the next few classes. I know we can't put everything into one class. You know, we only have an hour of recording time. But if there's anything that comes up, out of a specific class, you can also ask me that information as well, and I will make a plan and send that through to you. And I was thinking that we might do some of the small changes as a loose downloadable, just the downloadable video with voice and everything, so that is also available.